Hello, scrufftards, vatniks, random weirdos, and, the general degenerates found online. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And it appears as if maybe you never know, pinch of salt, but I don't know, credible, I don't know, a source online, make of that what you will, claims that the Swedish PBV302s APCs. They are making a huge difference in Kursk, allowing the Ukrainians to outmaneuver the Russians tactically in combat in Kursk. Let's take a look. So we have this guy, Kenneth Gregg, who appears to be from Finland. Maybe he has Swedish-Finnish origin. Uh, he is down in Ukraine at least, and he gets referenced at times by YouTubers since he does updates on Twitter, X, Twix, and what have you. And he also has a Facebook page, and I'm quoting his Facebook page here, and it's written in Swedish, so I'll translate here. And this is from the 9th of November. So 9th of November 2024 update. So a couple of days old by now. Let us begin in Kursk, where we continue to have success, mainly thanks to the Swedish PBV302s. These are completely superior to the Russian or Soviet BTR, BMP, BMD various versions 1, 2, and 3. An armored vehicle that weighs less than 13 tons and has wide tracks, which creates less pressure on the ground than a tractor. This allows the armored vehicle to move through difficult terrain, soft and loose ground, especially marshes and sand, as well as overcoming water obstacles without issues. The 302 is ancient or antique, is the actual word he's using there, antique, but so are its opponents. The 302 gives us the mobility required to maintain the advantage in mobility. And that is one of the perks of this vehicle, its off-road capabilities, its tactical maneuverability, the fact that it was built and designed to operate in the marshlands of northern Sweden. Northern Sweden during the summertime is covered with wet territory, marshes, bogs, rivers, lakes, wet soil, mud, and during the winter you have deep snow, ice, frozen lakes, and what have you. So being able to operate during those conditions has always been paramount for Swedish vehicles, especially when Sweden designs its own vehicles, like the S-Tank, like the PBV, like the BV206s, and the CV90. So I'm not at all surprised that we are seeing these reports from the front line that the PBV302s are excellent in their tactical maneuvering through difficult terrain, and that allows the Ukrainians to outmaneuver the Russians in combat. The vehicle also has good protection. It's a heavy-duty APC by modern standards. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was an IFV, but the armament today kind of makes it more an APC, a 20mm autocannon. And I don't know why they do this, but whenever you watch a YouTube clip or read up on this online, they always mention the full name of the autocannon. Why do they do that? It's so weird. It's a 20mm autocannon, used to be belt-fed, used to be mounted in fighter jets in the Swedish Air Force. But then they put them in the PBVs, and eventually they removed the belt feed and made it magazine fed instead. So you have 30 round magazines in these things. They don't mention that. They just spell out this long ass Italian, Austrian, whatever it is, word name for the gun, but don't mention it has a 30 round magazine. I don't get it. I don't know, but it has a 30 round magazine. And that is the main drawback of this vehicle, the low ammo count. Now, 30 rounds, that's certainly enough to engage a BTR or a BMP. Put 6 to 8 rounds into one of those vehicles and you will have effects. You can defeat 1, 2, maybe 3 vehicles with this gun. But 30 rounds when you're engaging infantry and then having to reload, that's not going to cut it. It's a gun meant to engage vehicles, obviously. So as you can see here on the leftmost image, they have a KSP-58 mounted on top of the autocannon, and I think Ukraine might they really should consider putting a 50 cal on these things, so that they can suppress infantry as they're trying to assault Russian positions with these vehicles. They really need a proper heavy machine gun to allow them to engage infantry, and then they can use the 20mm to engage armored targets. But yeah, it's an excellent vehicle, and like I pointed out in previous videos, Sweden tested the M113 and decided we want to build our own and make it better, and it ended up being this vehicle. The hatches, as you can see, before you had drones, I've pointed this out 100 times, before the age of drones, this allowed vehicles, the Swedish vehicles like the CV90 and the PBV302, to be super aggressive. You could use the vehicle as a mobile bunker and just advance straight up to the enemy positions and engage them basically point blank from the vehicle, throwing hand grenades and what have you. Was all part of the doctrine back in the day, throwing hand grenades from the vehicle. So those were the distances that you wanted to push in with the vehicle. But I mean, now with drones, I don't see Ukraine opening those hatches anytime soon. I highly doubt it. And here we have Kursk, and speaking of which, we saw this weekend that Russia was pushing strongly down here, moving along a river and the road network here, securing the bridge in Pogrebki and heading towards a bridge right here in Staraya Sorochnina or Malaya Loknaya, I should say rather. Plus that Russia was trying to move in here. Ukraine has since then pushed this assault back. And now we learn that Ukraine has managed to push Russia back out of Novaya Sorochina as well. And Russia is now up here in Orlokova. So let's see if I can... so that means somewhere like so. That Russia is no longer in control of... hang on. Oh, no. What's going on? Come on. No longer in control of that bit. And Ukraine has, in fact, managed to secure the territory here and pushed Russia back from this small village north of Malaya Loknia. So things are moving fast, as we know they are, and when you don't have any minefields disrupting assaults, then things move back and forth all the time, and so it should be something like, I'm gonna have to adjust this, but yeah, something akin to this. I'm gonna fix that up later on. But yes, Russia was forced back from Novaya Sorochina, but they are still in Pogrebki. They're still in control of this bridge, the vital bridge in the area. Not as crucial as this bridge, but Ukraine will take a win when they get one, and this was a important push forcing Russia back from Novaya Sorochina, and we'll see if Ukraine manages to push into these to this patch of woodland here in Novaya Ivanovka, because if they do that, secure that those woods, then Russia cannot move along this road here in towards Malaya Lokhnia and this vital bridge. And with Ukraine pushing Russia back north, they are in fact securing support flowing into this front line if Ukraine wants to maintain these positions, or maybe if they decide that this will be too difficult to hold on, so maybe this push here and the push here will allow these forces to fall back safely to secure defensive lines over here instead. We'll see what happens, but quite clearly Ukraine still has some fight left in them, and apparently the PBV302s are crucial in maintaining that will to fight in Kursk. So, yeah, interesting, exciting. We'll see if this is true. Remember, this is the only source I got, Kenneth Gregg and his Facebook page. He has been quoted quite a lot by YouTubers who are reporting on the war. So, I don't know if that gives him some extra additional credibility. But it is a couple of days old by now, and it appears as if the PBV302s might actually play a very important role in the fight up in Kursk. So that's gonna have to be it, but super interesting, super exciting. I kind of figured that they would use the 302s either in Kursk or at Pokrovsk. But at the moment leans towards that they are actually in Kursk. Really exciting, and hopefully they will give the Ukrainians that tactical edge in maneuverability that they need to hold on to territory in Kursk. We'll see how this plays out. Really interesting. Anyway, that's gonna have to be it. Go på marsch, Ukraine. Give them hell.